All right, guys, here we go. Took some time out to show you this right here, this grid here. Now we're gonna take these same dimensions, to transfer it over to this grid here. Start dissecting this box out like we want to. All right, and again, the first thing you want to start with is the easiest stuff first, and it's starting at that point, the origin. So at this origin, same thing here. I'll pivot it. I'm gonna start right here. I know from here to here is 6 boxes, which again is we talking 3 inches because that's what we laid out up here, which is this right here. So let's just do that. It's already laid out already. Now we gotta establish our front view. Let's establish our front view. Well, we know already we gotta come up. This is gonna be an inch. Based on here, right here, this is an inch. So you wanna come up an inch here with your ruler. I'm gonna use my architecture ruler for that. So come up an inch, mark it, and you come up an inch here. Oh, that's a half an inch. Let me come up an inch. Come up an inch. And then come up an inch. Same way we laid out our box, the big box, we do the same thing with the smaller box. I did my right view as well because this is an inch. I did it both of them. But I'm gonna come up an inch, and I'm gonna come up an inch in the back to create my post mark, my benchmark, so I know how tall my actual wall gonna be. So I'm doing this. I'm laying this out right here. This box here. So I came up an inch. I went up an inch in the back so I can get a benchmark created so I can create this line here. All right, so I already know this box right here, to get this top view, to get this line here, I'm gonna come over that measurement for the top one back this way as 1.5 inches. So this square box right here is 1.5 inches based on this diagram, 1.5 inches. So I'm gonna come over 1.5 inches over here, 1.5 inches on the bottom, so I can get this line here, this cross mark, to get this view here. And I'm gonna erase my old benchmark from my previous one to get this line back here so I won't get confused. As you can see, as we draw, we drop it off some of these marks. We don't need them anymore. Clarify what we're doing. So 1 inch, 1.5 inches. Come down here. Inch, 1.5 inches. Now draw that line through. Well, not all the way through. Stop it. Well, we can do this. Let's just make this line light going across the back. Well, you know you're gonna stop right here. So draw that line close enough to that point. And then you can bring this line down to that line. Bow, just like that. And you can erase that little bit right there. You just drew your first front view of your actual drawing here. Now you don't want to darken these lines too quickly, but just to see where you're standing right now, I'll do it for you. Don't darken these lines too quickly because you'll have to make some corrections on these lines. Just gonna give you a shadow of what you're doing. You just did. So you just drew your first right view, front view, on a 30-degree angle. That's the view you're looking at. You don't want to make these lines heavy. Don't make these border lines heavy. I'm doing it to give you an idea of what you just did. So this is what this is, the front view. Now let's go create our right view using these dimensions again. So we just made this box. We're gonna make this box here. We just came up an inch, over an inch, down an inch, over an inch. We went up an inch, came over an inch, We went up an inch this way, came up an inch this way. Now we just connect these two lines. Now we got our first right view by dissecting these lines. That's why I say it's easy to start at one spot, do 2 steps. You want your one spot to do 2 steps. I created my front view and my right view by doing it one spot. And that's why I say create your 90 degrees, and after that you start doing your dimensions off that. Then go 180. I mean, create your 180, your 90, do your 30-degree angle, and then start drawing everything off that. And then when you get stuck, go right back to the beginning on how you got to this point. All right. So we got our front view, we got our right view, we got our front view, we got our right view. Now we're gonna try to create this box and this box up here. Well, we know already how we got this back benchmark is from off here up top, over here. Same thing, we went over down an inch. We went down an inch, we brought that line up here to get this inch here. Now we want to establish this one here. Well, we already on a 30-degree angle. We can actually measure down to this point, measure down to this point, and we can get this point here by knowing this point right here, which is 1.5 inches. We can measure down 1.5 inches. We connect these 2 lines, and we have our right here. We have our mark just by going off what we know already. There you go. That's your top of your box on a 30-degree angle. All right. So we want to establish, we got our top now. This is this point here. This to this is this to this. That to that. 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 That's what you got here. Now we want to get, we can get this box as well by accumulating. What are we going to do on this one? We have to come back, jog back a little bit on this line to establish this point going through here. So on this point, we'll come back, I think I'm going to do 1.5 inches. Yep, I think that's 1.5 inches. Yep. Come back on this line, 1.5 inches. Trying to give it to you guys without jamming you up. So you could put 1.5 inches mark. Well, that's 1.5 inches. Yep, that's your 1.5 inches. Project it this way. 1 inch. Come back 1 inch. All right, guys, what you want to do is you want to come down 1 inch. Create this line here, right? You come down 1 inch. This is going to give you this, right? We're trying to connect this here. So you got 1 inch here. So you come down 1 inch. And then you want to kind of get this line, imaginary line going like this. All right, so you want to come down 1 inch. Don't worry about this line here. Come down 1 inch, connect this imaginary line going through here. I'm just gonna make it a light hidden line coming through here. Yep. All right, guys, so here we go. You want to measure down 1 inch to create this line here. It's an imaginary line coming through. Let me just show you what I'm talking about. This is where I get technical. All right, so I measured down 1 inch using my benchmark. Once again, you want to come down an inch. Right here, make that tick mark right there. Then, since it's already established back here as our depth, I'm going to bring this line up, bisecting this line through these 2 points. Imaginary line going through here because it's not going to stay there. It's just going to sort of show you where this thing starts. This is called one of the hidden lines. So I'm going to make a hidden line to show you how. Make this a hidden line. All right, that lines go through, but we're just gonna measure on this line back up an inch to catch it back here to get this line going through here. So between here and here, I'm gonna make it kind of solid, just so I can measure up an inch to get that mark to create this line going through here, and I can have this line back solid again. Then I have this box I need, which is this same box over here, which is this box. To get this box back here, get that line right there. Let me zoom up. So you're going to measure up an inch, which is a 1/4 inch scale. Which gives you that line back here. And then you draw that line back here. And then you bring a line down here. Now you have that box. And then at that point, you just now connect what's left over, and this is this line here to there. And you just now finished out your entire grid, your dimension, your box, just by using a grid box, title block, well, a grid to actually draw out the dimensions of the platform you need. So we're going to get rid of this line here because that line no longer serves a purpose. So erase that line there and erase the lines that are going through, because those lines no longer serve a purpose. And so I'm gonna mark this out with a marker just so you can get a better idea of what you just did. So I'm gonna draw out the whole entire box. These are benchmarks, by the way. These are just key benchmarks you needed. Like this is a key, this key benchmarks was created to get these lines. So I'll put those in red for you. All right, let me darken this thing up. And that's pretty much what it comes down to, man. It's just that, man. Just literally, you got to give yourself, let your eye see it. You got to have faith, right? Then you got to have vision. No, faith, belief, and then vision. That's what I look at these things as. And once you get that going, man, it becomes easy. You got to start seeing it. And it takes time. You got to walk away sometime to come back to it, to make a connection to it. You can when you're in it, when you programming or you designing something, you literally sometimes got to walk away. You literally got to walk away just to come back with fresh eyes. because you the artist. And again, I'm gonna erase this line here because it's not a serve a purpose anymore. But I left that tick mark up there, the little star. I'll put a color around it to indicate that's where we got our mark from. But on the bottom, when we can draw it a third time, you're not gonna have it at all. So this is the benchmark to the benchmarks. And then I'll wipe off the edge of this. Wipe off your can. Sometimes we won't do it, but anyway, so we got that. We're gonna draw this on out. And this is how you take using grid to start drawing the benchmarks needed. I mean, drawing the picture of which is needed. Yeah, this is just indications of where this stuff comes in at. And you come in and erase all this other stuff so it can stand out better. And this is what you do again when you ain't got grid paper and you ain't got time and your client is right around the corner. Yeah, but you can jog them, show them exactly what you're trying to establish. And there you have it. Oh, let's put in our T for top, R for right, and F for front. Which goes back to this up top here. So now you understand. So again, we put an F here. You're gonna put T. You're gonna put R and R. That's our right view. And this is how you use grid to indicate this. And I'll just see if I can do this in green for you. And I'll put the breaks in a different color so you know what is what. that's all you have it right there, man. And stay tuned for the last of this bad boy. So all your numbers are given here indicate what we did here. So again, watch this video, guys, slow it down. Try to zoom in and show you how I got this back part. Again, I came down 1 inch. I got this imaginary line established because I had this point already made. So all I had to do is come down 1 inch. Then I measured up 1 inch to get this back depth like we did over here. We came down 1 inch, went up 1 inch. So we just brought that same concept down to this point. Came down 1 inch, create that established imaginary line. And then we went up 1 inch to catch this mark, and bow, we got that. So we got everything we needed by doing that. That was probably the hardest thing you probably would run across if you didn't know that concept, is that get that back on it. But we already had all this established because we came off our right view, and that's just what it is. So when we bring it next to you see this video, it'll be just this by itself without all of this stuff here. So everything comes down to this point. Chee-hoo!